When he was mayor, there was a controversial program regarding how police were treating minority neighborhoods and the execution of these Terry stops and all that. So that's become an issue, and I just want to give you a chance to address that and how the campaign's handling that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And one of the things that Mike has said first and foremost is that, he's apologized for that. He has understood the full impact that those practices had on particularly Black and Latino communities. And he's been honest about it, and he said he apologized. He realized that, it had a very negative impact on minority communities. And to me, I think that's important. It's important that he's recognized it and that he's understood it. But as you have probably already seen, that's also now it's starting to also become a political attack from Donald Trump. Who's seeing the strength of our campaign, seeing what we're doing, seeing how we're, having that strong momentum and really taking the fight directly to him. And he's trying to politicize that as an issue to hurt the campaign.
Well, in Virginia, in the list that you issued, I think, yesterday or Thursday.
Yesterday, yeah.
You have a pretty good list of African-American elected leaders on that list, correct?
Yeah, we have. We're very lucky to have, for example, the mayor of Norfolk, Kenny Alexander, who actually met with Mike when Mike was down in Norfolk for his speech, where he also was endorsed by the former Navy Secretary Richard Spencer, who was the one that left. I believe it was in December. He left his post, and so. Mayor Alexander met with Mike, and we're very fortunate to have him on board on our team. He's a huge, obviously he's a powerhouse in Norfolk, and he's been elected to the House of Delegates, the state Senate. So we're very lucky, and he's also one of our campaign co-chairs here in Virginia. So we're very lucky to have him on board.
The other thing I wanted to ask is there was a remarks that Mayor Bloomberg gave a few years back. Regarding the mortgage crisis and all that, and redlining. And this is another tough question. I want your views on that and your response. He made some comments that didn't sound the best. Let's put it that way. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I believe they're the comments that were put out. When Mike was talking about, what he was saying is that something bad like the financial crisis, he really was trying to tackle as mayor the issue that was happening during the financial crisis, and he knew how important it was to keep people in their homes, and so Mike has really took on attacking predatory lending while he was mayor. And helped actually other cities craft innovative strategies to be able to reduce evictions while he was also a philanthropist. So he has really taken on he really took on his efforts and his career, if you will, to tackling evictions and predatory lending and really working to keep people in their homes. And that's something that he did as a mayor and followed it up as a philanthropist.
Well, one of his ads that I think is very effective, I haven't seen it in a while, though, but at the beginning, when he was mayor, access to health care in New York City increased pretty significantly. Can you address that?
Sorry, could you repeat that? You kind of cut out a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I wasn't.
No, you're good. You're good.
No. When he was mayor for 12 years of a Big Apple, access to health care improved dramatically, as I recall, according to one of his ads. Can you address that?
Well, yeah, and that's one of the things that he really wants to, take on nationally, right? Like, there's a lot of things that he did while mayor of New York City, and then also afterwards as a philanthropist, that he really wants to take that approach nationally. For one of them is healthcare. I mean, we know how important healthcare is for Virginians, right? We thankfully the General Assembly expanded Medicaid not too long ago, and we're still fighting to make sure that people have quality, health care. And so Mike is really going to fight to get that done nationally. That's something one of his priorities, as is, gun safety, for example, which is also a huge issue.
Let's talk about that.
Sure, yeah.
Let's talk about that. he has been donating his time and his wallet to several, at least one or two organizations, Moms Demand Action and another one that I'm having a senior moment on. Could you explain his involvement in that over the last couple of years and what his positions are in this campaign?
Yeah, no, I mean, he helped, obviously Moms Demand, as you mentioned, but also Mayors Against Illegal Guns, as well as Everytown for gun safety. And he's really been committed to fight and taking the fight to the NRA. And with these organizations, he's really led and helped lead the movement for gun safety across our country, especially here in Virginia, which has been a big issue. He has donated a lot of money to candidates gun safety candidates, right? Candidates who, when they were running for office, they pledged that in office they were going to implement, gun safety legislation like background checks. And thanks to those efforts in Virginia, we were able to flip the General Assembly. Now we have a Democratic majority in both houses, in both chambers, I should say. And we will really see that that's helping us right now, passing, common sense gun safety legislation. And similarly, he helped do the same nationally with the House of Representatives and making sure that we had a new Congress that would really address these issues. Because, I mean, we've seen, deadly mass shootings happen year after year. I mean, and gun violence happens in America every day, right? There are some that we don't even hear about. And so it was an issue that he has really, really fought against. And thankfully, in this past year, the new Democratic majority in the House of Representatives passed background checks. And unfortunately, that's being held up right now in the Senate, right? But it's a critical issue here in Virginia. For example, we are unfortunate enough that we've seen and felt this pain multiple times, not just in Virginia Tech, but then recently, Virginia Beach, in the mass shooting that happened out there. As president, that's another promise that he said he's going to get done is fighting for gun safety across our country, and he has the record to prove it.
Renzo, I want to ask a global question. Mike Bloomberg has a plethora of experiences being mayor of New York City. As I said, 12 years. And there's some controversial issues in his background for which he's apologized. But I think his experience in certain areas, he can make it into an incredible campaign asset. I want to ask you, will he use his experiences in New York City to address issues in criminal justice reform? That's one topic. And also economic development in rural and impoverished areas. What is he doing in those two areas, criminal justice reform and economic empowerment, enterprise zones? I think he gave a speech in Tulsa, Oklahoma on this issue. Talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, he talked, and that's where he rolled out his Greenwood Initiative. I think that's the one you're referring to.
Yes.
And he, that was his proposal actually to invest in minority and low-income communities in an unprecedented way. He committed to investing over $7 billion towards turning around about 100 of the country's most disadvantaged communities, which is an unprecedented pledge to infuse money into minority and disadvantaged communities. And so, as mayor of New York City, one of the global cities that everybody around the world always points to, he has the experience, he has the background to be able to as president, has the background and the knowledge. I mean, he had to, as mayor, he had to interact with international issues, right? When you're the mayor of New York City, you have to be paying attention, and a lot of the issues that you face are international issues.
Let me ask you this, though. I hate to cut you off. We got Kiera. We got about 2 minutes.
Oh, okay, yeah. No worries.
Renzo, you mentioned mayors. Is the response from mayors especially among African American mayors. How's that response to the Bloomberg campaign been? I know Muriel Bowser, mayor of D.C., is endorsing Bloomberg. You got Kenny Alexander. How's that response been among African American mayors throughout the country?
Well, it's been great, especially, I mean, and mayors just broadly. I believe it's yesterday we announced we have over 100 mayors around the country who've endorsed us. And that's because, you know, as a mayor, you can relate to another mayor and you know that they're ready, that they're tested, that they have the experience. They deal with real day-to-day issues for their constituents, and that experience is valuable as an executive to be in the White House. And so, you know, they've seen that. They've seen what Mike has done. And they know that he's the one to get it done.
I remember the governor of Maryland, Governor Schaefer. He was mayor of Baltimore, also known as the Charm City, also known as B-more. And he was a great mayor of Baltimore, and then he became governor, I think, for 8 years. And he always said that when I was mayor, it was a harder job because if I went to a grocery store, a fast food stop, or just filled up my car with gas, there'd be like 5 people coming up to me asking me about local issues. But then when I became governor, I had a couple of security guards and a big Suburban. I was sort of detached. Anyway, I think we're almost done. Renzo, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, folks. We got to go.